Yeah. Now,
Okay.
continuing with our psychic destiny,
Mhm.
he is talking about form destiny, prenatal influences.
Yes, last time I remember we read uh, in the mother womb and also first 1 year.
Now the prenatal.
Now it is prenatal influences. Okay. Form destiny, prenatal influences. Once form destiny begins with prenatal influences on the body in which he will dwell and last through life and beyond death until the end of his heaven period. The race to which the body will belong had been determined at the end of the previous life. The family in that race in which the body will be formed is selected to meet the requirements of the doer's destiny. The doer portion, which is to re-exist, brings about the influences which will affect its body during formation, and it will provide it through it and will provide it through the family with such tendencies as are the result of its past thoughts and fit the opportunities of the present. So according to the doer's plan, the
No, 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 no. Here, what we need to remember is,
uh,
according to doer's plan in the previous life, his predominant energies of incompleted lessons, predominant energies of wrongdoings, because he says that will be influencing him till his heaven period. When is heaven period? That is the resting period that the soul has before he gets into the next planning phase.
yes,
Right.
yes,
The first chapter he talks about the 12 different stages, right? Including
yes,
the one that is on the earth, it becomes 13.
yes.
So he is talking about that. Everyone able to recollect that? Masters?
Yeah, this is actually that is what he's talking about. The race to which the body will belong had been determined at the end of the previous life.
Correct.
That cycle, yeah. The
Right.
family in that race in which the body will be formed is selected to meet the requirements of the doer destiny.
Correct.
So
So
depending on
that is depending upon the final. So it is the selection of the environment that is being done after the plan is formulated.
correct. So the doer portion, which is to re-exist, brings about the influences which will affect its body during formation. So that influences which are in the last in the last birth's whatever the karmic pattern it brings up and
Ah,
it affects the body during formation.
as what we learn in spiritual tablets is that 50% comes from your past karma kitty.
And 50% now in
50%
the
is your new lessons that you pick up, which is left to the free will to take its path. So
okay,
both become the full essence.
okay, and will provide it through the family with which such tendencies as are the result of its past thoughts and fit the opportunities of the present.
Correct.
Hardly ever is anyone in afterlife conscious of the suffering incidents to the formation of the body in its place in the womb.
Correct.
Correct. Hardly ever we knew. Yeah. He who does remember is one who understands his own shortcomings and his duties and the fallings of his fellows, who sympathizes with the weaknesses of others, and who endeavors to assist in the difficulties of life.
So one statement about this,
Afterlife consciousness.
yeah, after, no, no, not after life consciousness. Is anyone in afterlife conscious of the suffering incident of the formation of the body in its place in the somewhere I remember reading that a newly born child is aware of all this.
Wow.
But we condition the child after birth in the worldly ways and he forgets. That is why you have sometimes uncontrollable crying by the child
Correct.
or twitching, his sudden laughing in his sleep. We see all
Yeah.
those. Those are all his memories going through, I believe.
Correct. Yes. So he's saying afterlife conscious of the suffering incidents to the formation of the body in the place in the womb or coming after the womb. So I mean, he's talking about the afterlife conscious of the suffering. Is he talking about in the womb, formation of the body in the
After coming out of the womb, no?
coming after the womb? He who does remember is one who understands
Place
his
in the
own thought.
womb. Okay. No. This is different. This is in the womb. Yeah. This
In
is
the womb.
yeah.
He who does remember is one who understands his own shortcomings and his duties and the failings of his fellows, who sympathizes with the weaknesses of others and who endeavors to assist in the difficulties of life. The selection, because no, they don't blame somebody and they know, it's their own karma, their own reality, they made it. The selection of a family and of the time for building the body often involves many problems. The selection of a family and the body involves many problems. The physical destiny of the doer in the body must fit in with the innumerable events in the lives of others and with public matters. Time, condition, and place are all important. To be born too soon or too late would mean being a misfit in the social order. See? Wow, this is I think it's a very, like eye-opening for some people.
Yeah.
They think, oh, why I am born in this star, because people think, depending upon astrological stars.
Yeah.
But there is to be born too soon or too late would mean being a misfit in the social order. The time for the beginning of a certain body must be selected so as to allow the cycles of its own life to intersect cycles in the lives of others with whom it is to be connected. So, that time, he chose it should intersect his own life and life of others whom he has to learn lessons. When the selection has been made,
In other words, this looks like very much like gears.
very much like,
Two gears which are interlocking.
yeah,
And not
two
just
gears.
two, but many others. For the
Correct.
whole system to work. Yeah.
Cycles of its own life to intersect cycles in the lives of others, because they had to match for his karma to
Exactly.
yeah, go through. When the selection has been made and at the time of conception, the breath form enters the atmosphere of the father and mother. Yeah, this is very interesting. Yeah.
As you said, eye-opening.
Yeah. Conception, fetal development.
One
Conception
question
is
here,
caused
sir.
by.
One second. Ratnam,
Yeah, so like if someone has a miscarriage, means like that may, what is the sentence before? Can you go to the Bala ma'am, the previous? I'm sorry, that's Chandra sir, previous one.
yeah.
The last statement says to be born too soon or too late would mean being a misfit in the social order. This can be pertained to the,
No,
the
this won't be miscarriage. Miscarriage itself is completion of one part of the plant.
or that itself is a one
Yes.
life cycle.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
It
okay.
is the healing in one portion.
Yeah, the soul only wants to come and stay only in the womb for so many months and go back.
Yeah.
That's a plan.
Oh, okay. Got
And
it.
what do you call, all this is very well described in Your Soul's Gift.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Okay, Robert Squad's Your Soul's Gift. It is very well described.
correct.
Oh, okay.
He described all this.
No, miscarriage
Detail.
is a separate chapter.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Conception and fetal development. Conception is caused by the presence of the form of the breath form. It binds their two germs in the body of the woman by fusing the radiant matter in both germs and is the center at which universal forces begin the building of the new physical body. This radiant matter develops into a small astral or radiant solid body which takes on the impressions from the form. The expansion of the radiant solid body within the fused cells causes the physical cells to divide and so to multiply until the potential form within the radiant solid body is gradually built out into the growing embryo. The bonding is the union of the three and is like a gong, a summons or a trumpet blast, inaudible to physical ears. Oh, inaudible to physical ear. The bonding is the union of three and is like a trumpet blast, inaudible to physical ears. The summons bring in the elementals which are directly concerned with the building in their order. Hundreds of these gongs resound through the world every minute, but each call is answered by those elementals only which are to build that particular body. Amazing. Hundreds of these gongs resound through the world every minute. So here gong means like what is exactly he meant?
No. See, he's just saying gong is the culmination of, right, two different forces.
Okay, fusion. Okay.
Okay, it is like the fusion. So that is why he has just used gong to represent that. But interestingly, what it means is just imagine a number of gears rotating in a particular direction, right?
Oh, he says a metal disc with a turned rim giving a resonant note when struck a dinner
That's
gong.
what. See, you can
So,
imagine a bell for a
yeah.
gong. The best thing is imagine a bell. There is an input on the outer side and the resonance is on the inner side. Both
Correct.
are happening. And what is heard is on the outer side. Both sides there is a disturbance.
Mm.
Okay, that is what he is trying to represent here.
Basically, whenever this bonding happens or blasting, division occurs, always there are the sounds like instrument sounds are happening, but we are not
Not
able to.
everything. See, we are talking about everything that is not in the materialistic form. So, when something is not in the materialistic form, we start thinking in frequencies. No, think in terms of frequencies and vibrations. Okay.
So inaudible to physical ears. That is why he says this sound is inaudible to physical ears.
That means the
It's some-
frequency at which it is vibrating is beyond the audible range of the human ears.
Correct.
But if you are a conscious being, you are able to recognize them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So that is why elementals, which are they always this is the hundreds of these
Now,
gongs.
see, now here in one of his lectures, Bob Proctor explains
Mm-hmm.
that if you want to achieve something,
Mm.
if you want to achieve something, imagine that there is a grid. Okay. The grid is made out of two parameters. One is the amplitude, the other one is the frequency. Okay. Now, amplitude is nothing but the intensity.
Amplitude.
And when you look at the force of attraction or the law of attraction working, you have to establish the connection first, and then that is your thought power, which is vibrating and sending that signal. And when you are attracting back, it is the intensity with which you feel.
And the receiver should be able to receive it.
Exactly. So connection is your transmission, which is being received by the frequency at which the other item is vibrating. Okay. Now, what that fellow, after you have established the circuit, he is going to send you signals. You need to be able to catch it and attract. Both sides are there, and this is when the entire frequency match is taking place. So that is what we should be able to visualize.
Correct. It is like a radio tuning.
Correct. So Bob Proctor says you connect to that frequency first, and then you attract it. Just
Then you
like
attract
Science
it.
Daga says, right? Manifestation is nothing but thoughts are the electrical, and
Emotions are
feelings are magnetic.
Feelings or emotions are magnetic.
Correct, correct. So that is the way the whole thing works.
So basically, he is saying hundreds of these gongs resound through the world every minute. That means because there are so many people are, born every.
Now just imagine, just to form one human being, you need 100 trillion cells. How much
And
of
always
material is going to make that?
correct.
Yeah, let's continue.
Only those build who were connected in a certain way as elementals with the previous physical body of the owner of the new body. Only those who build were connected in a certain way as elementals with the previous physical body of the owner of the new body. I didn't understand this. What he's saying.
What he is saying is your body material. See, the physical destiny, he says, right? When the body disintegrates,
Yeah.
all the material go back to nature.
Yes.
When your next body is to be made, it will come from that material.
Okay. For the new physical body, they will come back. That's what he's saying.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Owner of the new body. Okay.
Correct.
When the sum comes to them, some are free in the elements, some are bound in plants, and some in animals. So, okay. So basically, when we leave the body, some elementals are free, some are bound in plants, some are in animals.
Correct. Now this statement is indicating our compassions, our Arshad Vargas, all come back to us as energies to complete the experience. What we started in the previous, this one, what is completed gets completely dissolved, but what is incomplete, it has to come in the same form for you to continue.
Correct. Yeah. We need to solve those.
Correct, correct.
They must obey summons.
Correct.
They must obey the summons. Those that are free go at once. Those that are in plants are set free. Those that
that
are
are in
animal
animal bodies.
Those that are in animal bodies are set free by the natural death or the destruction of the animals in which they are. So I don't know why it, okay, because the animal bodies, they are created by, okay,
Now
after our birth.
here, just imagine some books say, and some talks also, some of the enlightened masters say, what you breathe out, I take in. And what I breathe out, you take in.
Correct,
Hence, you are me, I am you.
correct.
Right? Now, so what does it mean? What is going out of me and serves your purpose as per your destiny or your thought process, that goes and merges with what you are creating for yourself.
Correct. But here he says those that are in plants are set free. So what does he mean when he says they are set free?
The plant will come to you in,
Oh,
in the energy form. It may
okay.
go into your body as food. It may go into your body as the oxygen that that particular plant is giving out.
Okay. Because, yeah, the way he mentioned, it's not clear. Okay. Okay. So those that are animal bodies are set free by the natural death or the destruction of the animals in which they are. Yeah. So once, yeah, they leave the body, yeah, until that, yeah, they are bound by that. In this way, the elementals which once operated in parts of the human body come together in the physical atmosphere of the mother and pass to her body through light, breath, water, and food. So in this way, the elementals which once operated in parts of human body come together in the physical atmosphere of the mother and pass it into her body through light, breath, water, and food from wherever they are.
So that means
Gradually,
from the see, this also explains everything is in the environment.
yeah. So we're all so very
Like
connected.
biology of belief, it says everything is in the environment. Hmm.
Yeah. So that is why we are so connected to
Correct.
animals and plants also. Gradually, they are built into the body of the embryo. Those which are built in before the placenta is developed during the amniotic period come in by osmosis. Those which make up the fetus after placental development has begun are breathed by the mother from her atmosphere into her lungs, enter her bloodstream, pass through the umbilical cord, and are built into the fetus. Oh. So some are through the amniotic, yeah, developed placenta during the amniotic period through the osmosis.
But just
Some,
imagine what happens to the mother's cellular memory when all this is happening.
so it is mixed with the baby's. Uh,
Is that one of the reasons that mother instinctively connects to the child and is always connected?
yeah, probably correct. Yeah, that is why even how far or how much sound is there, immediately the mother can recognize and yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
correct.
So those which of the fetus after placental development has begun are breathed by the mother from her atmosphere into her lungs, enter her bloodstream, pass through the umbilical cord, and are built into the fetus. This taking on by the breath form of a new carnal body is a resurrection of the former body. So basically, that is what resurrection.
That means you are rebuilding.
Yeah. The flora and fauna of the world do not spring into existence at the order of a personal god. They are created by the thoughts of a man.
So even
So,
the environment that you are living in is created by the thoughts of a man.
correct. A part of this subject has a bearing upon
Bearing upon, yeah.
upon the psychic destiny at the time of the birth of a new body. So a part of it has a bearing upon the psychic destiny at the time of the birth of a new body. During the previous life, the doer had desires for prey, cruelty, squalor, or venom. These desires bond the union of male and female animals and are later embodied in the offspring. Oh, so these bad qualities, vices, those desires bond the union of the male and female animals, and so they become the animal offspring.
Correct.
So this is how the thoughts of the man creates all this.
My
In this
God.
man,
No. Here I'm just thinking. A child that is born reflects 50% of the mother and 50% of the father.
mm,
That means what the newborn child is bringing as his body has to be converted to the 50% representing the father and 50% representing the mother. How complex is that going to be?
yes, correct.
Because their body, when that is being created, has to keep all these factors in mind.
Oh yeah. I mean, such a, like a
And
precise
it's a
calculation.
completely well knit maze.
Correct.
My God.
But didn't we read sometime in, I don't think in this book or maybe some other book, 50% is genetical and 50% is non-genetical in terms of
Fine.
forming the body.
Mhm.
And
Which book?
I don't remember, sir. Like, in one of our book clubs itself, we read that. Maybe if not this, maybe I don't remember. I'm very not good in those type of remembering book names, but I remember like discussing that part.
Quite possible. Quite possible.
Yeah.
But which book I am not able to. Probably it could be the Seth Wisdom. That
Say-
Q&A,
Oh, okay.
I think so.
Yeah, somewhere like in our book club itself,
Right.
we read that and we were talking about that.
Correct. Yeah. So in this manner,
In this manner, human feelings and desires become pigs, cats, fish, and other animals. Human feelings and desires. Cattle, sheep, deer, zebras, horses, and dogs are of a different kind and are the embodiment of a better class of desires. Animals have no indwellers in the sense of doers in human bodies, nor have they AIAs. So they don't have any AIA. They are feeling and desires, and their bodies are made up of elementals. Some of these animals are formed during the lifetime of the man, some after his death. So even in that, some some become different depending upon the feeling and desire. When the call is sent out at conception, these former desires in their animal garbs have to obey the call. Oh. The animal bodies in which they are die so as to have the animal-like feelings and desires present in the order in which they are needed for a new human body that is being built. These animal types are built into the radiant solid body and partly into the flesh body and are later in life the basis for thoughts like those of which these animal shapes were the exteriorizations.
That means
So the
even animal shapes are created by our thoughts.
So the animal bodies in which they are, they had to die so as to have the animal-like feelings and desires present in the order. So depending upon the so
This tells like even our thoughts create the animal kingdom and plant kingdom.
Yes.
yes, yes. That's what he says. So the cycles go on, and the circulations from man to nature and from nature to man are kept up. The thoughts take form in animal shapes, and upon the destruction of the shapes, the indwelling feelings and desires seek the source of their existence. Upon the indwelling feelings and desires seek the source of their existence, they return to the psychic atmosphere of which they are a part of it. In this way, animals transmigrate from nature into man. Malformations, defects, diseases, and disposition to ailments which come in later life are built by elementals from impressions upon the breath form into the radiant solid body at about the time that they appear in the flesh. So this is the aura he's talking about.
No. The aura will be after they are attracted. They are sitting there in the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, in
Yeah,
this
okay.
psychic atmosphere. That means you can say that it is part of the aura. I don't, but then see, aura is to be looked at as the atmosphere surrounding the body.
Correct. It's a radiant solid body. I thought it, yeah.
Correct.
These formations are forms of thoughts. So even malformation, defects, diseases also is caused by the formations or forms of thoughts. In a
Correct.
former life, repetition of some thoughts or a sudden energy concentrated and poured into a thought gave it a mold which made an impression upon the AIA. Elementals now sense the mark which is projected upon the new breath form and built it into a radiant solid and then into the flesh body. The thought is exhibited now in that part of the body are connected with the center through which the thoughts of that particular kind usually come into the human system when a man thinks. So basically saying elementals now sense the mark which is projected upon the new breath form and built into the radiant solid and then into the flesh body. The thought is exhibited now in that part of the body. Okay. Are connected with the center through which the thoughts of that particular kind usually come into the human system when a man thinks. Yeah.
Now, this word has again got two parts. Can you think about it?
So what two parts?
Consciously and unconsciously.
Oh yeah, thinking, thoughts. Yeah, correct.
Right. So that is also important.
Correct. See, until we studied all this, we didn't know even
We
thoughts
were
also.
not conscious of that. There is a conscious and the unconscious pathway.
F2 because
One F2, yeah.
correct. Yeah, even without conscious, also suddenly when we see something, our mind, thinks like that, without even um, voluntarily, so just suddenly. That's why that awareness is very important. The physical body is prepared and built into the prenatal state by the four classes of elementals. According as one
Wait,
class.
Sheila has a question. Yeah.
Who?
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Ah.
So when Balamama was reading that our thoughts create animal kingdom and all that, right? So just a few days back, I was listening that the house, like how Dolores Cannon says, the house does not exist when you're not there. It's like, but I just couldn't grasp the concept how all of us will have the same, like the dog looks like this, the tiger looks like this, like is it like a iCloud? So I heard somewhere, I don't know if you can correct me, I don't know where I got this information, where it says like how we have stored our memory in the iCloud, so the human being store that, and that's how it perceives, like we create an image holographically, and that's how every human being sees a dog in a dog shape and a lion in a lion shape, or
No, we don't know that because
okay.
unless we are taught this to be a dog.
Hmm.
For example, if I was taught that what I am holding to operate my computer, what we are
Yeah.
calling a mouse, is a tiger.
Yeah.
Suppose I say this is not a mouse, this is a tiger. And everyone
Yeah.
in the next generation is taught that this is a tiger,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, even I used to wonder where did they get this? This is a dog. This is a cat. This how did they name them? And I don't know where it started. I
Okay.
know
No, no,
biologically,
no.
zoologically, we have names.
Correct. But then think about it slightly differently.
Hmm.
A samosa.
Yeah.
How many different shapes of a samosa are there?
Yeah. Now there are many different shapes.
Correct. But the raw
Right.
material that makes the samosa is the same.
Right.
Okay. So the statement that you are trying to interpret has to have two things. One is the
Huh.
raw material, which is the broken down condition, and the way, the pattern in which that raw material is arranged.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you need to interpret it from these two perspectives to get the perfect meaning.
Yeah.
So, in other words, it is like the English sentence which is setting the context.
Okay.
So, the shape, right? I mean, but then if I see, that is how the shape is arranging itself into
Yeah.
look alike, like a horse, but then we are able to discriminate a horse, a zebra, a donkey.
And a donkey. Yeah.
All of them look very similar.
Yeah.
Right? So,
I mean, it's right. When we were in India, like before I came to United States, in those days, now even India has broccoli, asparagus, and all that. I didn't even know anything about what broccoli looks like, what is broccoli, what is asparagus, all these things before I came to US in 2000. Maybe it was there in a high tech, some one corner of Bangalore, but not normal people. We never cooked broccoli every day.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, the physical body is prepared and built in the prenatal state by the four classes of elementals. According as one class predominates in the combination, the man is endowed with certain abilities or disabilities which come out in his youth or in later years. So basically, the combination of the elementals that determines whether it is a perfect body or imperfect with some disease.
Correct. So, when we are on a healing journey or how we create our reality, if you think about, think from those paradigms, right? You are able to regulate those thoughts in this birth and change them the way you want as well. That is how we are able to do a non-medical healing, correct?
So we are okay. So elemental combination is changing.
You are changing it.
Yeah, we are changing.
Right.
Yeah. That's why here he says, where the fire elemental prevails, the man will be agile and quick in his movements. So jerking movements,
No, his reflexes basically.
reflexes, yeah. Where the air elemental prevails, he will be graceful, a dancer, a jumper, or a runner, and can pass over heights without fear of falling. The water elemental gives a love for water, swimming and bathing. The earth elementals make him heavy in body so that he prefers to keep on solid ground. So these are all like some of the examples. Okay.
No, no,
or
no.
how the
Not some of the examples. This is how you manipulate.
yeah.
Right now, I'm trying to understand this or extend this understanding.
Mm.
Does it mean our visualization of all these kind of at this level is actually what manifests as the new entity then?
Manifesting a new entity of, perfect
So
one
when you
in
are
the
visualizing and experiencing these kind of changes happen, can you create
yeah.
new exteriorization then?
Yeah. Because you see, if you want something to move faster, like a car, maybe fire element. You imagine more fire element. That's what you're saying.
Hmm.
That you are in your manifestation. So
So in
depending
your
upon
visualization of your healing,
yeah. Yeah, not only healing, even an object like a car, if you want to, if you want a car, if you want to visualize a car to buy it,
you
so
can.
probably first two elements will help
Correct.
because it has that fire to the engine and then it moves because of that movement, the fire, the air movement, isn't it? I think,
Extending our imagination, I am finding that yes, that is what is possible.
yeah.
No wonder the Guruji who had visited us said, I now know how to control nature. Right? When he created that golden Narasimha,
Uh,
he said, it has taken me all these years to learn how to effectively control nature.
See, that is what in the next couple of chapters, I think in one
He
of the
gives us,
chapters he
yeah,
mentioned this to control the nature, but
correct.
they need to be careful when to do, when not to do.
Even not to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These four classes of elementals are combined in different proportions. Where one class is lacking, the person will fear the conditions which are lacking, where lacking class would have made agreeable to him. So if one class is lacking, that creates the fear.
This is
So
very interesting because
yes.
this is exactly what we just discussed.
Yeah.
So this is like controlled cooking.
Mm-hmm.
You are creating the environment which is controlling the dish, how much of flame to give, how much of oil to give, how much of lubrication to give, and so on. Correct?
That's why he's saying the lack of fire elementals cause fear of fire and inability to deal with it and danger of being burnt. The lack of air elementals will cause a dread of dizzy heights or any heights, of looking into deep places or of walking on a trestle. Such a person will never make a good dancer or a swift runner. The lack of water elementals become evident by dislike of the water and by misgivings where water is concerned. Such
Mm.
a person will really enjoy bathing or make a good swimmer. Lack of the earth element will cause one to get away from the land and seek the water. He will be ever moving about, restless and seeking change. Oh, so he will be keep moving and restless and seeking change. According to the
So
predominance
one
or
question here, like Chandra sir, like the combination of these elementals are due to our thought patterns.
Yes.
Because the previous paragraphs talking about how
Correct.
our thought
No,
patterns
no. See,
influence
now
which
what he is
animals.
talking about is when you think like this becomes the outcome.
Can you repeat that again?
I said, when you think in one particular line, for example, you think with an environment which lacks air elements. Okay, let us take that air element.
No, I understand what is the qualities of specific elements.
Correct.
But
So that is how you
connecting to
create.
previous paragraphs,
Correct.
so because our thoughts dictate the animal shapes, and
Correct.
in our body, physical body, again the formation of our physical body.
Hmm.
So which means for the formation of physical body, these different combinations of these 4 different elementals, the thoughts also affect
It
what
is not
combination
thoughts
of these
also.
elementals can form the body.
Not thoughts also. Thoughts are the basic root.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me, 5 minutes, okay, man. Okay,
Yeah. So that is how the whole thing happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes,
Okay.
that is right.
According to the predominance or absence of certain class of elementals, one will select or be attracted to or led into a vocation, and certain events will happen to him. Those who become firemen, stokers, smelters, electricians, fighters, actors, or astronomers by choice, they do so because in them the fire elementals predominate. Or even an actors or astronomers.
No. Now, just understand this and think about astrology.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If they are able to understand this fact properly, they can potentially become good astrologers. Are you with me?
Or depending upon, okay, and so
I
the
need to
element
be
of,
able to visualize that or interpret at that level for me to become an effective astrologer. But this is not easy.
this is astronomer, like who going into the space.
No, he is talking about it. But how is an astrologer predicting? He is looking at the environment, searching for these elements. This is a watery sign. This is a fiery sign. Right? He is utilizing this mathematical probability in trying to give you the projections.
I
Don't you
mean,
think so?
basically, Ayurveda also, they treat by looking at the different elementals in the body, which one dominates.
Correct. Ayurveda also
Vata.
is the same thing. Because in astrology, there is one branch which is known as medical astrology.
Okay. In
Because
dancers,
Ayurveda, we use the Vata, Pitta, Kapha.
Correct.
Those are really these
They are again the elementals only.
elementals. Yes.
Yes.
correct. Which one predominates, that's what
Yeah.
they say. In dancers, mountain climbers, aeronauts, athletes, musicians, poets, and singers, the air element prevails. The water elementals make men sailors, fishermen, boatmen are good cooks. Oh, good cooks also, the air element.
Because water has got everything to do with taste.
But water and also fire element is there, cooking.
Correct. But then domination is you know how to use fire. But you, when to stop? When is your coffee getting burnt or your milk getting burnt? How do you get to know? if you have your taste buds is associated with, right, the elementals pertaining to cooking. They are interconnected. Because a cook
The earth,
takes the combination and creates something that is very tasty.
yes.
Yeah.
The earth elementals make men workers of the soil, miners, farmers, or masons.
I mean, you can extend it. They become architects and they can become the civil engineers of the world and so on.
Landscaping. Yeah.
Correct. Correct.
The fire elementals make men ardent,
Hmm.
irritable, and quarrelsome. Oh, they quarrel. Okay.
No, the
Air elementals.
four temperaments are due to the prevalence of
Ah.
elementals of a particular class in a personal makeup.
Correct. The four temperaments are due to the prevalence of elements of a particular class in the personal makeup. Fire elementals make men
These are the
ardent,
foundations of astrology, man.
irascible, and quarrelsome. Air elementals make them dreamers and light-hearted.
Hmm.
Okay. Next.
Yeah. Water element.
Water make them restless, adventurous, and changeable. And earth elementals make them heavy, solid and materialistic.
It is
Solid.
actually, I think there is a spelling mistake. It should be stoid, steady.
Oh, stoid. Okay, steady. Okay.
Yeah.
Stoid metal. Worldly success and failure are determined, and foundations for them are built into the by these four classes of elementals from the magic symbols on the breath form. Worldly success and failure are determined, and foundations for them are built into the embryo by these four classes of elementals from the magic symbols on the breath form. So basically, like we like different. He says whatever speech also they're all like a different.
They're all
goes into
interconnected.
yeah. Each class of elementals represents its own great sphere of fire, air, water, or earth. But in the earth sphere, the other three worlds are subordinated to the physical world, where the great spirit of the earth rules, and where the most concrete form of his rule is money. For one to have material success, the earth elementals must be powerful in his makeup. The building of the body in its prenatal state is thus done by the elementals that work out in physical matter the lines on the breath form they made by previous thinking and thoughts. Among peculiar prenatal influences are those exerted by several kinds of creatures that have thrown them out of the stream of human progress. What is this? Among peculiar prenatal influences are those exerted by several kinds of creatures that have thrown themselves out of the stream of human progress. What does that mean? I didn't quite understand the
Let's
sentence.
read a little more. We will get the idea.
These beings were human, but have forsworn their humanity. They lost it because they were enemies of humanity or because they fell below a certain level, shedding blood for pleasure of it, inflicting injury for the delight of seeing the victim suffer, extorting money from the helpless, or delight in the ruining the lives of others, and excessive sexual indulgence practiced in many lives will put one out of the stream of humanity. Okay, now I got it. So
basically, you're saying you are going beyond what is accepted as humanly. Right? If you are involved in that, those energies that you have created are going to play a dominant role, whereby you are going to have to balance them. That is what
So
it
based,
the long and short.
yeah. So they are out from of the human progress, they go down.
Correct. Yes.
Then there are those who are not so much a danger to others, but who have fallen below the standard. Such are the persons who are degenerate through drinking alcohol to excess, using narcotics, or through excessive or abnormal sexuality. These creatures have lost the right to be born in human shape and are debarred from lawful entrance through normal copulation.
Correct.
So these are the second grade degraded.
Mm.
They can come only if they can bond a couple uniting out of season or while drunk or during menstruation.
Mm.
Such a couple sponsor the creature for which they furnish a body and are responsible for bringing into the world one who would have been barred from the human family except for the manner of their admittance. The prenatal influences which these creatures bring to bear result in acts of depravity by the mothers.
Mm.
So,
So,
I have a question here.
yeah.
I mean, these two paragraphs were talking whether they're being born from, to born as a human. So,
Mm.
like, like in our Puranas, they say, like, even in Garuda Purana and all, if you did some type of sin, you would born as a, as an animal.
Mm.
That type of, in cause and effect of, our sins and whatever the rewards, what we have, punya and papa, put in that way.
Mm.
But we also learned in the spiritual life, in these books, humans does not go back to the animal form. They again come as animal, humans only. But these paragraphs are contradicting to that
No, they
very.
are not. They are not. You have to think from the energy perspective. That is why I had said you are having all the animal kingdoms within you. In what shape?
Okay,
I
but the
think
animal kingdom is like for us, like the digestive system is
No,
we're
no,
talking.
no, 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 no.
Arishad Vargas, the Kama Krodha
Arishad
Loba
Varga.
Mada.
The Arishad Vargas are going to influence the way a particular organ is formed, correct? Now, interpret these paras with that in the background. Close your eyes and experience. Why are you having burning sensation in your stomach, let us say?
Due to some kind of emotion, like
Okay.
emotion
See,
that is related to Arishad Varga.
it could be caused by the elementals that have more fiery content in them which have entered your body.
Yeah, we can say that, yeah,
Okay.
based on the previous
Which means your food has too much of spices in them.
Okay.
The environment that you passed through was very pungent,
Okay.
which dominated your thought process and kept it locked to that particular feeling, which
Okay.
dominated that energy. That is the result.
Yeah.
Right? So that is the way this will manifest. That is what he has been explaining.
Okay.
See, basically, these creatures have lost the right to be born in human shape. Right? Now, when it comes to the other law that we have been talking about, what we have been learning is that once you have taken human form, you will be in human form. But experiencing the energies which impact an outcome which has got all these parameters, as a human being, you are expected to be compassionate.
Okay.
you are not going to be compassionate. You are going to be cruel.
Yeah.
Don't we issue the expression when we see somebody, he's like an animal,
Hmm.
right? So that is what he is explaining to us here.
Okay, so in other words, like though he's a human,
Correct.
the
He is physically
patterns
a
what he
human.
exhibit, the patterns what he exhibit is
Exactly.
in
So,
an animal.
correct. So that means he is physically looking like a human being,
Yeah.
but his behavior pattern is not aligned to that of a human being,
Yes.
right? That is what he is explaining.
So in that way, like if we extend that to the, like I'm still like trying to understand this whole the concept.
I know.
So someone who is cruel, I mean, like one it is affecting his cruelty is the elemental combination to start with.
Exactly.
Okay, and then he took the human form and born as a human, took a physical body, born as a human, but he still continued to have that those tendencies, the
Mhm.
cruelty tendencies, and those tendencies also helping to for certain animals and plants to
The
be.
way I would interpret, particularly, these creatures have lost the right to be in human form, right? I may be born looking like a human being, but having a tail.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but that's so far so clear.
Correct.
So, but their mentality or their pattern of behavior influence for thus that type of animals to bond. Like say, cruel a person with cruel thought patterns
Correct.
would manifest animals like a cruel, wild animals to born, more wild animals to born in the nature.
Correct. Because I would use the word, I won't say more this one, I will say more abnormal. I would use the word abnormal.
Okay.
Okay, just to understand, I will use the word that. The prenatal, the prenatal influences which these creatures bring to bear result in acts of depravity by the mothers. Okay, so ultimately, that whole thing impacts the limited experience of the mothers. Clear, right? You are on par? Ratna ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yeah, yes.
Right.
Okay. Next. Prenatal influences of parents, thoughts of the mother, inheritance of. It is supposed that the child's future character depends upon the mother and her environment. This is not entirely true. The mother is but the willing or unwilling instrument who works according to the form destiny of the future child. Experiments have been tried to produce offspring that would fulfill certain hopes. Most of them have failed. Among the Greeks, expectant mothers were surrounded by objects conducive to the production of healthy, beautiful, and noble children. Such children were frequently produced as far as the physical qualities were concerned. But parents cannot produce noble characters and intellects. The best for a woman to assure herself of a child which will have noble qualities and intellectual power is to have these herself, to control her desires and think on lofty subjects before conception. However, women with strong desires are holding tenaciously to a thought have shown that strange results may sometimes be produced by the invisible and psychic influences prevailing on the form plane during fetal development. So the form plane of the
She is directing her thoughts consciously.
uh-huh. marks have been made on the body of the child due to a picture held in the thoughts of its mother and then built out by elementals. Strange appetites have been impressed, fierce desires engendered, and peculiar tendencies implanted in the child. So these are all the psychic.
Correct. No, these become the formative pattern in which the child is being formed. That is why they say the mother should be very happy, etc.
Or birth was
The mother to
accelerated
be,
or
yeah, correct.
retarded in consequence of some thoughts of its mother. This interference would at first seem to disprove the law of thought as destiny, but there is no real contradiction.
There is no real contradiction. It is only the perception that it is contradicted.
I mean, birth was accelerated or retarded in consequence of some thoughts of its mother. Okay.
No, all of
So,
them. All the thoughts together.
yeah. But because he says this interference would at first seem to disprove the law of thought as destiny, but there is no real contradiction. Often, when the mother supposes that she is the cause of birthmarks or tendencies in the child, she has been impelled to act by the child's own past thoughts. So even before he said the birthmarks are somewhere in the other book also, some fire accidents or something happens, they form the birthmarks in the next birth. The tendencies of in the child.
Yeah. So this is what influences even the mother to think like that.
It's in both ways, actually.
Yeah.
So mother
Often when the
influences
mother
the
supposes
child and
that
the
she is the cause of the birthmarks or tendencies in the child, she has been impelled to act by the child's own past thoughts.
influencing each other.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why, she has been correct. Yeah, that influence of the newborn also is there on the mother.
No, the yet to be born is. I won't say newborn.
Sorry, yet to be born. The child whose destiny seems to have been interfered with by the action of the mother is receiving just payment for a similar act done to another in a prior life. The child whose destiny seems to have been interfered with by the action of the mother is receiving just the payment for a similar act done to another in a prior life. While the mother is paying the child for a like interference with her or another psychic destiny in a previous life, or is setting up for reasons of the law a new score which must and will be paid in the future. So probably
He is
that's why.
now explaining your Prarabdha, Sanchita and Agami.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This makes actually why we choose our own parents. Why a child,
No.
to be born.
Yeah, exactly.
The reason why they chose a specific parents and location and all that.
They don't have a choice of choosing. That is
Yes.
how it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
They have already chosen. Our thoughts now will have chosen the parents who are willing to meet the deliverables.
So with all this, I mean, it is telling us how careful we have to be using our free will.
Yes.
Because
See, one another thing.
Excuse me.
We are all able to understand this book after we have gone through the journey of Your Soul's Plan, Peter Richelieu's, Your Soul's Gift, and then the various in-between lives. All those books have collectively enabled us to understand this particular sentence.
Yes.
Just think about it. Those who have not gone through them, who suddenly take this book as the first book, they won't make head and tail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Let's continue.
Okay, another psychic destiny in a previous life or is setting up for reasons of the law a new score which must and will be paid in the future. That is the agama dharma.
Mm.
When the doer to whom such form or psychic destiny is due is ready to re-exist, it will be attracted to parents who have these notions about prenatal development. When the
Mm.
doer to such form or
The
psychic
choice.
destiny is
The choice of the environment represented by the father, the mother, the state, the location, all those parameters. Yeah.
if
Let's
a man and his wife are pure in their bodies and their thoughts, they will attract a doer about to come into a body whose destiny requires such conditions. The destiny is decided before pregnancy. After the impregnation is made, the mother cannot change the character and psychic tendencies of the doer, which is to re exist.
Mm.
The utmost that she can do is to interrupt or postpone their expression, if such is the destiny of the child.
Mm.
What is this? At most, she can interrupt or postpone
No,
their
no, no.
expression.
The extent to which she can influence the developing fetus is only from this perspective, because he says once the impregnation is made, that means the process has started, you cannot change much.
Oh, only interrupt or postpone. Okay.
Correct.
Because, okay. Such is the destiny of the child. The mother has no right to say what the features of the child shall be or what position in life it shall hold.
Correct. She
It is
can only
all
desire. She can only desire and generate those thoughts for the child to pick up.
correct.
Hmm.
But
Nor
here,
has she
even if we think, like, even if we say a mother can change the thought pattern so that the formation of the body or the behavioral patterns of the the yet to be born child can change. It is only to certain extent, because we were thinking in the some of the previous book sessions, we thought, okay, like the Prahlada's mom like was going through the session of listening to the God's qualities, so it affected Prahlada in such a way. So even though he's in Rakshasa's clan, he's still like towards the Hari, like his devotion towards the Hari was developed. But like as per these sentences, if mom has only has certain
Privileges.
privileges. Yeah, exactly, privileges to change that because
Correct. It is only to a certain extent.
yes.
Yeah.
okay.
This is
The
what mother who is wanting to heal the child can do. What can it do? It can only postpone.
That's what he's saying. Yeah.
Correct.
The mother has no right to say what the features of the child shall be or what positions in life it will hold. Nor has she the right to attempt to determine its sex. The sex has been determined before pregnancy. Any attempt to change it is against the law and injures the child. With the beginning of pregnancy, the mother is brought more closely into touch with the form plane.
Mm.
Mother is brought more beginning of the pregnancy, mother is brought more closely into touch with the form plane. She should hold herself to a pure life and think on lofty subjects, thereby avoiding improper thoughts. Her right to change these thoughts, appetites, and desires which come to her depends on how they affect herself. She has the right to refuse to obey any impressions felt which would tend to lower her in her own estimation or to injure her present or future health. She has the right to refuse or to obey any impressions felt which would tend to lower her in her own estimation or injure her present or future health.
Mm.
Prenatal development opens the psychic nature of the prospective mother and makes her sensitive to influences from the form plane.
Okay.
I have a question, Andy. Chandrika,
Mm.
can you scroll back up, please? So the last two pointers, her right to change these thoughts, appetites, desires which come to her depend on how they affect herself. She has the right to refuse to obey any impressions
Correct.
felt, which
Obey
would
the
tend to lower.
impressions which could impact her.
Ante, suppose if mother's health is endangered because of the child position or whatever it is, then she goes for an abortion.
Correct.
Mm.
So, that's why he says prenatal development opens the psychic nature of the prospective mother and makes her sensitive to influences from the form plane. And she has the right to refuse to obey any impressions felt which would tend to lower her in her own estimation, to injure her present or future health.
Correct.
If
As far
her
as
health,
her health is concerned, she has a right to take a call.
But this refusal is only like temporary, because at one time in, sometime in the future, she still has to, go through that.
No. If
Yeah,
it
that's
is
what we said, right? It's the
no.
previous bullet points.
No, but then see, what is she? She is a house where the raw material is being prepared in a particular shape. Like she is just like the oven, which is going to
we
cook what you are
we
going
need
to
to
put in.
yeah.
She is just a custodian.
But one of the bullet points said, at
What?
most she can do is to interrupt or postpone their expression.
Whose expression? That is that of the child.
Child's expression.
That is child's expression. But the other condition is it should not impact her. If it is going to impact her, why will she postpone?
No, but say suppose here is the abortion case we are talking about.
Correct.
So in that
This
case,
abortion.
Really,
What is she? When is she aborting? The child has a right to abort if it is his plan. Correct?
yeah, it's a child's plan. Okay.
Okay, now here, but that particular plan of the child is going to impact her, which was not part of the agreement that she signed to. This is also a soul contract, actually.
Okay.
Between the mother and child. But if the conditions of the contract have undergone a change, she has the right to refuse.
But in the
Refuse
earlier
to
points,
undergone the abortion?
Correct. If say, for example, I know someone who had a child that was being developed. Okay. Now, the father of the child said, let's continue. Some of the relatives of not child, father of the child and relatives influenced the mother to be saying, go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. Now, when the doctor looked into the matter, they found that there was a sort of a neonatal hernia in which the child had its heart in place of the diaphragm. And the diaphragm had organized itself to be in the place of the heart.
Okay.
Okay. Now, that was a threat to the mother's life.
Okay.
So the mother said, no, I need to live. I've got other children I've got to take care.
Okay.
Okay. So she went ahead with the abortion.
Okay.
See,
Okay, so
it all
those
depends
type of
upon
cases.
exactly if it is a threat to the mother's life, the mother can take a call.
Okay.
in her own estimation or to injure her present or future health. Her, not the child's.
Yes, yes.
Got it, Ratna? The other
Yeah,
Ratna?
yeah. Yes, I'm
No, no,
I'm
this is one
confused.
Ratna, there is the other
Yeah,
Ratna.
the previous one is
Yeah,
previous
I
one is
understood.
pertain to the child's destiny,
Correct,
and this is
correct,
pertain to the mother's destiny. Okay.
correct, correct, correct.
Here we are talking about the physical form, but in the earlier bullet points, it is saying that the child, yet the to be born child can influence the thoughts of the mother, and mother can also influence the thoughts of the child.
But mother's influence is only to the extent of postponing a particular outcome.
Okay.
That mother's influence is limited.
Okay.
Once the pattern and agreement is complete, mother's influence is only postponing, nothing else. That is what he is saying. No. See, where is that? Yeah.
I think you should scroll down in the
No,
next page.
no. Once the impregnation is done, nothing can change. Where is that sentence?
That's in the below page.
Okay. Yeah. After the impregnation is made, mother cannot change the character and psychic tendencies of the doer, which is to re-exist.
Re-exist.
At the psychic level, you cannot bring about any change. The utmost that she can do is to interrupt or postpone their expression, if such is the destiny of the child. If again, she can do that only if the destiny of the child has that option.
Okay.
That is what she is trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
If she is of sound health, if she is of sound health, mind, and morals, the uncommon emotional phases which she experiences come to her because of the thoughts of the doer, which will be in the child. If she are of a weak mind, lacks morals, or unsound body, she may be beset by all manner of beings of the form plane, which desires to obsess or control her and to have the sensations which her condition affords them.
Correct.
Nature,
Hmm.
nature ghosts of dead men and morbid desires of the living and lost portions of the doers may crowd in upon her. Oh my God.
Hmm.
If she is a medium or weak mind,
Correct.
lacks morals or unsound body, she may be beset up by manner of beings of the form plane.
Hmm.
Nature ghosts of dead men and morbid desires of the living and lost portions of the doers may crowd in upon her. If her body is not strong enough, or her desires not opposed to them, or if she is not high-minded enough to resist their urgings and does not know how to keep them away, these creatures in search of sensation may control her. Sudden.
So that is why another thing is the mental age of the child is also very important. They say mental age of the mother to be also is very important. These are the factors why they say that.
So sudden debauchery, fits of drunkenness, and
Debauchery.
morbid
And debauchery. That is immoral, immoral living.
Fits of drunkenness and morbid fancies may be indulged in, bestial appetites gratified, revolting practices allowed, explosive outbursts of anger which lead to killing and messing in blood may take place.
These are some of the impacts of other energy is taking control.
Uninfluenced
Correct.
fat, yeah.
When you lose control,
Parox-
these are the things that will manifest.
yeah.
Hmm.
Paroxysms of delirious fury, frenzied hilarity, or intense gloom may obsess the mother irregularly or with cyclic frequency. Such conditions are usually caused by creatures who have been thrown out of the stream of human progress.
Hmm. See,
On
this
the
same
other
thing
hand,
is again repeated in the mental destiny, if you remember, where it talks about mediumship and how it influences. Yeah.
correct.
Hmm.
On the other hand, the prenatal period may be one of satisfaction, one in which the mother feels sympathy for everyone.
Hmm.
A period of exhilaration, buoyancy, and
Buoyancy,
life of happiness,
buoyancy and
and life that is
life of
happy,
happiness.
happiness, aspiration, and high-mindedness, and she may gain knowledge of things not usually known.
Hmm.
The atmospheres of the incoming doer blend with the atmospheres of the mother, and thoughts whirling in the atmospheres of the fetus affect her.
Hmm.
The incoming doer blend with the atmospheres of the mother, and thoughts whirling in the atmosphere of the fetus affect her. The atmospheres of the doer of the fetus acts upon it through the atmospheres of the mother, and all connections are made through the breath. All this is the psychic destiny of the doer who will live in the body which is being prepared, and at the same time it fits the mother and is her destiny.
Hmm.
This period of a woman's life is distinctly psychic.
Okay.
She may learn much.
One sec, I'm just okay. 1.5 page. We can continue.
Let us stop it.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. But yeah, it's, I mean, amazing. So much knowledge is putting in.
Yeah.
But
We'll stop
yeah,
here.
people
Continue.
now, after coming into this meditation, and now they're very careful and with the pregnancies and all.
Yeah. So we'll stop here.
Yeah, we'll start.